Hello and welcome to the Daily Royal. My name is Shelby and I have been a royal watcher for the past 10 years. In this podcast, I talk about the daily events of 7 of the European monarchies. So I talk about Belgium, the UK, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and Sweden. I upload Monday through Friday with occasional bonus episodes here and there. Today we are talking about all of the events from Wednesday, October 13th of 2021. Have you ever had one of those days where everything's fine, but your motivation is just really low? That's where I'm at today. I'm good. I'm a little tired. Got kicked today by a child, and it hurt a lot, but I'm fine. And I don't know. I didn't want to do anything. And it's not that I didn't want to do it. I did. I was just it took me 3 hours to do an outline because I kept getting tired. I don't know. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock. I'm recording a podcast. It's totally fine. Of course, the day was mildly busy, which is all good. I do want to start this podcast. I realize I started very cheery, but I do want to just start this podcast and talk about a ongoing incident in Norway right now. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the royal family, but just want to mention it and send my thoughts. So there was some sort of attack this evening in Norway using in the town of Kongsberg, and it's on the eve of a government transition that happens tomorrow, and Norway is very peaceful and is not used to these attacks. I know if you're from the States, this honestly wouldn't be that shocking to us. It'd be scary to some, but it's not shocking to us. To Norway, it's shocking. And things like this are horrifying. There is no new information so far. King Harald has not made a statement. I expect him to do so tomorrow. It's just a very scary thing, and just thoughts to Norway during this time. Attacks before transitions of power are horrifying, speaking from very personal experience in the US. But I just wanted to start off the episode by mentioning that, and now we are going to jump into all the official events of the day. So with that, let's go to the Belgian royal family. Belgium. In Belgium today, Queen Mathilde had one event. There was only one event in the Belgian household today. So Queen Mathilde attended a roundtable discussion with local nonprofits that was focused on the pandemic as well as Brexit and the effects that has had on business organizations throughout the country, and what kind of ideas and kind of just a discussion about getting through this bizarre time. Brexit happened in February, and then COVID happened in March of 2020. So those two things happened so quickly right after the other, that it just got to be a very confusing, stressful time, especially in the EU. And so this conversation was focused on the challenges that have been coming out of that, as well as hopefully some creative new solutions to those problems. That's all that was going on in Belgium today. I just wanted to quickly talk about, they had a couple of additions to the calendar, so their Friday is actually looking a little bit busier. Now, they do have an event tomorrow And then I'm going to call the episode that I record on Friday. So reminder, I am actually not recording tomorrow. I have a meeting that I have to go to for my day job. So I am not going to be recording on Thursday. So I will be recording on Friday for an episode to go up on Saturday. And then I'll record on Sunday to cover any Saturday or Sunday events. And that episode will go up on Monday. So we'll just resume normal schedule from there. But I think I'm going to title my Thursday and Friday episode the Angela Merkel episode, because there's a lot of Angela Merkel going on in a couple of royal families this week. So that'll be entertaining, at least. So that is what was going on today in Belgium, and now we are going to move over to the British royal family. United Kingdom. In the UK today, there were two different events. So the first is Queen Elizabeth presented the Queen's Medal for Music today in a reception at Buckingham Palace, which may be like one of the first times she's been back working from Buckingham in a while. Like, she received the Prime Minister of Australia, but I think that was at Windsor, during the G7 summit, but I'm pretty sure that was at Windsor. Joe Biden and Jill Biden were in Windsor, so I'm thinking this might be one of her first times back in Buckingham in a year and a half. Probably not the first, but certainly one of the first. So that was a cool event today. Always just really good to see her. I think at some point it'll get normal again. But so far it has not been. It's still like an exceptional, extraordinary case when she makes an appearance. So that is the first thing going on today. And then also today, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attended an event at the Royal Botanical Gardens in Kew. I call them the Kew Gardens, but I think it's like the Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew or something like that, KEW. But it's a historic royal location that has like these gardens. It's beautiful. It's certainly something that if I'm able to go in June due to the pandemic situation, it is one of the few sightseeing things that I am going to make a lot of time for. It is first and foremost a work trip when I go. It'll be the Platinum Jubilee, so I will be doing a lot of royal related things. But I do plan on doing a few sightseeing things, of course, if I'm in London. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I'm in London. So that is where they were at, but the program, it was like a initiative with Earthshot Generation, which is an education initiative for young people focused on protecting the world and combating climate change and climate problems. So really, it was just focused on school children going through like a workshop type of program. And that's what Will and Kate were doing. They were doing the workshop. They were partaking in it with the kids. They were talking to the kids about the importance of the planet. I have a feeling that this month with the Earthshot Prize, now this is a first-year event for Earthshot. I am thinking, based on what I have seen so far, and the prize is sometime in the next week or so. I think it's this weekend, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be Sunday, but again, not completely sure. So I think that the next few days and that lead up and build up are going to be pretty intense. I am going to just quickly Google when the Earthshot Prize is. I've done this so many times and I just like never write it down. So let me see here. Ceremony. So it is on Sunday. So we hopefully will be able to talk about it in the Sunday episode. If not, we'll push it back and like I'll record on Monday morning if I have to talk about it in that episode, because it's such an important thing. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing the next week play out in the lead up to those awards and immediately after. So anyway, that is what was going on today in the UK. And so now we are going to move over to the Danish royal family. Denmark. I'm not intending to brag on myself, but yesterday I was very confused as to why we hadn't seen any information from Queen Margrethe's last 2 days of her trip in Greenland. Well, I was correct in assuming that it was a national security thing. It was a military visit, at least yesterday. And so that is what she was doing. She was in Station Nord, which is like the northernmost part of Greenland. So I'm just going to call it the North Pole. It is not actually the North Pole, but like probably definitely within the Arctic Circle. And she was visiting the permanent like base there. So that is a little bit about what was going on there. But then today she was back in Denmark. She received new ambassadors today. I got a lot more clarification. They finally released some pictures of like her at the ceremonies. I'm still not entirely sure how it goes down, but like they at least shared picture of her today. And so she received the new ambassadors from Thailand, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Austria, and Luxembourg. So that was the event today. Amazing. Like, the hard work from Denmark in September and October is just going to be this, like, ongoing impressive thing to me. Because there just wasn't any of this for so long with the Danish royal family this year. I mean, they are almost definitely going to be the country with the lowest engagement count this year, which seems silly to me with 3 working members of the royal family when like the other royal families that have 2 working members, a king and a queen, are like crushing it. But I think they are improving. I think the minute that those COVID restrictions were gone, things are going to get a little better. So we'll see how the rest of that plays out. So that is what was going on today for Queen Margrethe. But then also today, Crown Prince Frederik was on the 2nd day of his trade mission to Iceland. So these are very common, especially with like the Scandinavian royals. They do these often. And so we'll see some of it. It's just, this is the first one that I've talked about. There was one, like a digital one to the Netherlands early last year, like May or June, and it, like I said, it was digital, so it was supposed to take place in mid-March, like right after the pandemic really got bad, and obviously was canceled, and then was postponed, and then they ended up just holding it digitally on that postponement date, because probably in May or June we were like, oh, this thing is never going to end. I see. You know, we're all thinking like, oh, April. Yeah, no. It's October of 2021 and it's still not over for a lot of people. But anyway, so these take on kind of like a schedule of their own. There's always like an opening session to mark the trade mission, to talk about the trade partnership between the 2 countries participating, and then Crown Prince Frederik and other Danish officials who are on the trade mission will visit a couple of different locations depending on the length of the visit. So today it was just a day, so they visited 2 locations. They visited a local Reykjavik utility company that provides like electric and gas and heating, to learn about their work to negate carbon emissions. and then they, like, through a public and private partnership. So that's where, like, a government as well as private companies work in collaboration to create this. And then he also visited the Arctic Command Task Force, which is stationed on a ship that patrols essentially the Arctic Ocean and the Arctic Circle, and has a sustainability initiative called Green Defense. So he was learning about that program as well as learning about the work that the task force does. So that is the day for the Danish royal family. Again, they have an incredibly busy week. If my source is correct, if my calendar reading is correct, Frederik is going to be in Paris tomorrow. We'll see if that's accurate. It could be, it might not be. There's just a lot going on this week. So, it's Wednesday. So with that, we will go ahead now and move over to the Dutch royal family. The Netherlands. In the Netherlands today, there were a couple of different events. I am shocked at the lack of information on this first one, but today King Willem-Alexander received the first copy of a new Dutch translation of the Bible. These are things that happen, different translations come out all the time, a lot of them to make it more readable, easy to understand, etc. And so this one was produced by, I guess, the Dutch Flemish Bible Society. So Dutch is obviously the language, but Flemish is like the Belgian version of Dutch. So they're same, but different. They're very similar, but a little bit different dialect and such. And King Willem-Alexander is patron of the Dutch Flemish Bible Society. So he was the first to receive this new copy of the Bible. So that was the first event, and then also today, Queen Maxima took part in a working visit with More Music in the Classroom. So she visited a school that participates in the program. It is the Queen Beatrix School, named, obviously, for Queen Maxima's mother-in-law, Queen Beatrix, who is now Princess Beatrix. And this is the school that has the largest school band that's going to participate in the Christmas Music Gala. I'm not sure if, More Music in the Classroom is putting this on, or if it's, a countrywide thing. I don't know. More information to come at Christmas time. One does love the Christmas season and the royal watching. Just a little note. However, I'm going to do something a little bit different than I did in December last year. So in December last year, I took the whole month off unintentionally. I just really, mentally could not exist anymore. I was just having a really hard time. And so in December, I basically took the whole month off as a mental health break, and came back in January. This year, I'm going to take the last 2 weeks off, and return on January 1st. So, and I'll return with kind of what I did this year, 2021 highlights, as well as speech recaps for all 7 monarchs who are going to be giving speeches on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So I do, or Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's. So I did 2 episodes that way. I did the Christmas time ones, and then I'll do the New Year's ones, and then I'll do probably a 2-part episode on highlights, and then kind of have another week off, basically, and return probably on the 6th or something fully, but it'll be like I never left that week. So I'm going to take the week before Christmas and then the week between Christmas and New Year's and return with an episode on January 1st. So that is a little update there since I had a little bit of time. And now we are going to move over to the Norwegian royal family. Norway. in Norway today, obviously at the top of the episode, I talked about an ongoing developing situation that I expect royal comment on probably tomorrow. We will talk about that in the episode I record on Friday. However, there was an event today as well, so I will talk about that. And then we'll talk about the rest of it on Saturday morning's episode, the episode I record to go up on Saturday. So today, Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit visited a partnership organization with their foundation. So the foundation they received on their wedding day, which is, of course, 20 years ago now. They celebrated their 20th anniversary in August. And so today they visited a partner organization called UNG Invest, which is an alternative, from what I understand from reading and researching, it's an alternative upper secondary education center that uses strength-based education. So I don't entirely understand the Norwegian education system in terms of, like, if they have something similar to A-levels that can determine what kind of post-compulsory education you can receive. I'm not sure what that looks like. So I assume that is the case and that you're kind of, like, put into tiered levels, and these would be people who I think wouldn't qualify for maybe any kind of secondary education. But I'm not entirely sure of that. But I from what I understand from just reading on their website, but they offer this as an alternative or an option to use strength-based assessments to help get people into the job force. So I thought that it was a really cool initiative. It has been a partner with the Crown Prince Couple Foundation for the past 10 years. And so today they visited a location and got to talk with students as well as staff about the program. And again, about that partnership between the foundation and how the foundation can help them ongoing and also still. So that is what was going on there. And again, we will talk about the ongoing situation in a later episode. The government transition, I think, happens sometime tomorrow. I don't think it happens like at I don't think the new prime minister is the prime minister today as I'm recording this, which is like 2 a.m. in Norway. But it could be. I genuinely don't know. But again, just thoughts to any Norwegian people who may be listening, or if you know anybody, like, this is scary for them. And it just thoughts, all the thoughts, because I kind of understand, and just with it being on the eve of a transition of power, it's very frightening, and the whole country is on high alert right now. So, and just continued thoughts to them. And so now we are going to go ahead and move over to the Spanish royal family. Spain. All of the excitement of yesterday in Spain has just, apparently I'm exhausted from it. No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I do think it has to do with the broken way I slept due to the ongoing, the situation in Spain, due to the parade and stuff. Because I woke up at like 4:30 to watch it and then tried to go back to sleep 45 minutes before I had to be up, and I shut an oven. I was just tired all day, and now I think I'm like just still exhausted from that. Like, I went to bed last night very early. Thank goodness I was so on top of it yesterday with the podcast, but like I'm not today. So I'm not looking to go to bed for another like hour and a half at minimum. And, you know, it's just gonna be a long day tomorrow. But That's okay. So King Felipe today had a couple of different events that were both like, I don't know. I'm just going to say it. I was bored by them. I don't know if I'm having like a Spanish royal family burnout, which is inevitable to happen. Maybe I am. Maybe I just like know that things are going to be so exciting next week that I'm like, yeah, okay, this was fine, but it like was boring to me. But anyway, today he visited the Bank of Spain, where he attended a meeting with the governing body. So obviously that's like the official bank. It would kind of be similar to like the U.S. Treasury kind of situation. And then they also have at the Bank of Spain an exhibition area, so like a permanent art exhibition to learn about like history and stuff like that. So does the National Library, by the way, in Spain. Like, it has permanent exhibits as well as temporary pop-up exhibits, and I love it. So the art collection focused on the artistic collection that the bank owns, and its connection to Spanish artist Francisco Goya. So when we talk about art exhibits like this, that are very innate to Spain's culture, I think yesterday I talked about how like Spain doesn't have an Independence Day because Spain has essentially existed forever. It's been different, like it was the Kingdom of Aragon and Castile and Leon. Like, it's been a lot of different kingdoms that then combined to become Spain. And so like that's recognized. But like it's been around forever. And so like these artists that we talk about are similar to like Da Vinci and, these Italian famous artists who just like are just part of the common world. Goya and Velázquez and a couple of others are that way as well. And so obviously the modern Bank of Spain has a huge connection to Goya, who is a famed Spanish artist who has existed, and his art pieces will live on forever. So that was the first event of Felipe's day. And then later on, he attended the opening ceremony of the Royal Academies, probably. So there are 10 different Royal Academies. This one was held at the Royal Academy of History, but it opened the academic course for all 10 Royal Academies. So this is just like a institution that is royally recognized, branded essentially, to continue ongoing education in different fields. So that is what was going on today in Spain. Spain also has an Angela Merkel event tomorrow, so we'll talk about that then. We'll talk about that on Friday, as well as the Friday event for them in the Saturday event. But for now, we are going to move over to the Swedish royal family. Sweden. I think I might end up being a little over my 30 minutes today. I'm sorry. I'm trying. There was just a lot to say today. But anyway, we are going to finish this episode with the Swedish royal family. Today there was one event. So King Carl Gustaf and Queen Silvia attended the Malmo Forum, which is a dedicated time to speak about topics related to the Holocaust and anti-Semitism. And so their involvement included taking part in different forums and discussions, as well as meetings with various officials at the forum, focused on the summit. Essentially focuses on 4 main events: Holocaust remembrance, Holocaust education, anti-Semitism on social media, and the fight against anti-Semitism and other forms of racism. I'm having a hard time talking about this because one, obviously it's a hard conversation. And two, I don't understand how people can be so cruel and thoughtless to continue 75 years on to be this hateful. And it ignites a fury in me that is very intense, because I just don't understand. I actually don't remember where I first heard about the Holocaust, whether it was in school or it was just something that I knew. I think I have talked about this before, but I genuinely loved, there was a movie done in English about the Diary of Anne Frank, and it was legitimately one of my favorite movies, which is maybe not great, but also Sound of Music was way up there. And so the culture of World War II was just very much in the way the movies that I enjoyed as a small child. Sound of Music is still my all-time favorite movie, by the way, but hits a lot different as a grown-up, learning these things, knowing these things. But I always knew the atrocities that were caused in Nazi Germany and beyond in Nazi-occupied countries. And I also grew up in a small town where stupid things were said all the time that I just didn't understand why people would say things like that, because seriously, why? But I think forums like this, and anniversary remembrances, with Yad Vashem, are so important, to continue this ongoing conversation. And I wish more things like this were recognized and focused on in the US, as we have a reignition of using a swastika, and now people are adding vaccine needles onto swastikas because we're the worst people on the planet. And apparently now vaccines are equivalent to Nazi Germany and the atrocities caused. And seriously, I think some education would do some people some good. And this is why I have a hard time talking about it, because I get very angry relatively quickly. But I love this event. I think it's so important, to focus on these issues everywhere. And props and applause and all the things to King Carl Gustaf and Queen Silvia for attending and shining a spotlight on it. So anyway, that is my soapbox. That brings an end to the episode. Please check out thedailyroyal.com, The Daily Royal on Instagram. Check out Shop the Daily Royal on Etsy. I did post the Danish royal family products today. So please check those out. And then I will continue posting over the weekend new products and hopefully finish up mid next week, is the ultimate goal. We will see. And then start adding things little by little. But I want to get those base 21 products up first. Also, new additions are coming, in terms of just the business side of this. So we'll see how that all plays out. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode, and I will talk to you all on Saturday. Have a fantastic Thursday and Friday. Bye.